Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all of you again. Now that we have completed the oration, we are going for a little felicitation event for the orator himself, as he leaves the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo, after many years of service. This event is organized by the Department of Medical Humanities. So I'd like to invite Professor Priyadarshini Galappathy, the current head of the department, to address you on this occasion.
Good morning. It is my pleasure once again to address you on behalf of the Department of Medical Humanities for the felicitation that we have organized to pay our gratitude to our founder head of the department, Professor Saroj Jayasinghe. Medical Humanities tries to develop humane qualities in our graduates, and one of the most important humane qualities is paying tribute. And this program today, with the involvement of our dear students, is to appreciate the immense contribution made by Professor Saroj Jayasinghe to the department and the faculty. I thank Professor Vajira Disanayaka, the Dean of the Faculty, for sparing your morning today amid your busy schedule to be with us to grace this felicitation as well. We are grateful to Professor Saroj Jayasinghe for accepting the invitation to join this felicitation after the Professor Carlo Fonseca oration. Thank you, sir. Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, the founder head of the department, is felicitated today for the service he rendered, who not only established the department, but also took several steps in promoting the discipline by activities he initiated. Medical humanities is a new discipline of medicine, gaining wide interest in the rest of the world. What exactly is medical humanities and its scope is a subject of much discussion, both internationally, locally, as well as within our own department and the stream. Medical humanities has been defined as an interdisciplinary and increasingly international endeavor that draws on the creative and intellectual strengths of diverse disciplines in pursuit of medical educational goals, including literature, art, creative writing, drama, film, and music. In keeping with those that medical humanities encompass, we have tried to felicitate Professor Saroj Jayasinghe during this event. I warmly welcome Associate Professor Kama Tenzin, the Deputy Dean, Academic Affairs, Kesha Gyalpo University of Medical Sciences in Bhutan, who is joining us online to share with us the contributions Professor Jayasinghe made in improving the teaching of medical humanities and behavioral sciences in Bhutan. Professor Panduka Karunanayaka, the chairperson of the Humanities, Society and Professionalism stream, will inform how Professor Saroj Jayasinghe paved the way for the BSS and the new HSPS. I welcome our academic staff members, Professor Jean Pereira, Professor Dinitha Fernando, and Dr. Asela Gunodana, and other colleagues and students of Professor Saroj, who have contributed to the newsletter that we will be releasing today, showcasing their creativity. I welcome our dear students, represented by Mr. Punu Jayakodi, the President of the Medical Faculty Students Union, and Mr. Tisura Vijayawardena, the President of the recently established Medical Students Clinical Society, which was initiated with the support of Professor Saroj Jayasinghe as its patron. We also welcome all the audience who are joining us online for this felicitation, our academic staff members and all the students. And I also take this opportunity to thank our audiovisual and IT teams headed by Dr. Dakshita, as well as well assisted by Dr. Roshan Hevapatirana, who are handling this live streaming of this event too, enabling all those who are joining online, particularly our students, to participate in this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. It is now my pleasure to welcome onto the podium our Dean, Professor Vajra Disanayake, to share his memories and thoughts in this occasion.
Good morning, everybody. Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, Madam Damani Jayasinghe, Head of the Department of Humanities, Professor Priyadarshini Kalapatti, Dr. Santushi Amarasuriya, my colleagues in the faculty, both academic and administrative, distinguished invitees, students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure, but with mixed feelings, to say a few words on the occasion of felicitation of Professor Saroj Jayasinghe on his retirement from the faculty. I had the opportunity to talk about Professor Jayasinghe about a month ago when we felicitated him at the Department of Clinical Medicine. So this morning I was wondering what I should talk about him. So I will not dwell on the aspects that I dwelt on when I spoke at the Department of Clinical Medicine. But I would like to say a few words on the important contribution that he made in championing the cause of setting up a Department of Medical Humanities in the faculty, and maybe to reflect on the significance of that work, wearing my new hat, as it were, in the Sri Lanka Medical Council. As you know, in the Sri Lanka Medical Council, one of our activities is that of looking at the complaints that we get from the general public or the doctors against other medical practitioners. And when I look at those complaints that I receive, the key factor that is missing in the person against whom that there is a complaint is the fact that the humaneness of the practice of your profession has been lacking in that particular event or incident which leads to that complaint. So in medical humanities, we look at the wider inputs that are required to the practice of medicine, it may be from arts, literature, or social sciences, or philosophy. But the final goal, I guess, is bringing up or bringing out the humaneness in the medical practitioner or the doctor. So we need to keep that goal in mind in what we do. And I think the fact that we have a department of medical humanities in the faculty is so very important because the department could take the leadership in doing that and can serve as the anchor for the former basic sciences stream, which has now metamorphosed into a wider remit, as it were, as a stream of humanities and professionalism. And so in that respect, sir, your contribution in establishing this department will be felt very much into the future. And in these formative years, I think, where we are looking at getting in the right mix of people who will take that leadership and work towards achieving that aim for the future, I think your continuing engagement with this department is so very important. And we look forward to having your Vice Council to ensure that we reach that kind of the greater goal that we are aspiring to. As we live in a society which is now driven by social media, that too becomes so very important, because I guess what's happening today is we've got a society where the innermost rudimentary feelings of the human being are manifesting through social media. And when I address the newly passed out doctors and administered them the medical practitioner's oath a couple of weeks ago, I told them that as a medical professional, social media is somewhere where you should not be. Because the ills of society tends to manifest there. And I think if you are a doctor who is in social media, your mind is so distorted and scattered by reading all the, the garbage that comes through. And the healing process that you should have in yourself before you heal others is distorted, I think. I always tell my students, the first lecture that I give to the medical students as an introduction, that when you meet your cadaver as the first teacher, the cadaver becomes your first teacher. And what is required is a process of reflecting on that cadaver using a systematic approach that I take them through to bring about a certain level of healing amongst in you, so that, using that famous saying, physician, heal thyself. Heal yourself before you start getting ready to heal others. So I think we need to reflect on the multidimensional aspects, the inputs that we can give to the medical student from the first day to the day that they pass out from here as a medical practitioner serving humanity. And the department that you set up is going to play a pivotal role in that. I'm also happy to see that there is a group of followers, as it were, on your footsteps in this faculty. And that's also very important because you cannot really do things alone. Need a group of people thinking differently. And I had have had the opportunity of listening to Panduka articulating some of the ideas that he has. And then I had the beautiful opportunity to listen to a presentation that Dinithi made when she applied for her promotion on how the input that she was giving to the stream. And I think we've got a set of people in this faculty, there are many more who I can probably speak on, who can bring in different inputs and I should say help mature the seeds that you have sown in the form of the Department of Medical Humanities. So I think it's a mighty oak that can grow into. And all of us in our hearts have, the human aspects of humanness. And we need to create the opportunities and the forum for the wider expression of that humanness, so that the negative aspects that we see in society these days, which are highlighted over and over again, beyond the level of which they should be highlighted, could be, counteracted and suppressed through the good work, the humane work that is highlighted by the work that we do. So with those words, sir, I thought I have tried to articulate the significance of the seed that you saw in the form of a Department of Medical Humanities. And I hope that all of us would have the strength and courage to help grow this baby, as it were, and get it to a bigger, wider endeavor that actually goes beyond this faculty. It has reached Bhutan, but also to the newer faculties that are coming up in the country, so that another 10, 15, 20 years down the line, as much as we have seen medical education, coming through in the 1990s and today established in every faculty, we have also a Department of Medical Humanities established in every medical faculty in this country. So with those words, sir, thank you very much for all that you have done for your students who are here, the colleagues later on, all of us became your colleagues and friends, and the collegiality that you showed us in multiple ways. And of course, I wish you all the very best in your retirement. And of course, that retirement, I would guess, it would be a second innings, maybe a second innings. I know where the second innings is going to be played, in Sabaragamuwa maybe, but also with a foothold in Sri Lanka, in Colombo as it were, so that we all would continue to benefit from your wisdom. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Santoshi Amaraswamy, Professor Saroj Jayasinghe.
As the Dean has already mentioned, this event is one that generates a mix of varying emotions for us. It acknowledges a sad fact that Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, a vibrant force both within the faculty and university, has finally managed to pry himself loose from the tether that holds him attached to these institutions. However, the task we have at hand is extremely happy one, where we pay tribute to and honor a brilliant clinician, a scholar par excellence, and an extraordinary human being, all of which there is ample evidence for, making this task a very easy one. Paradoxically, I have struggled during the past few days to put my thoughts down on paper about Prof. Saroj, just because there are so many good things to be said about this person. As an academic staff member of the Department of Medical Humanities, as well as due to my role as the convener of the Behavioral Sciences stream, I have had the pleasure of working very closely with Prof. Saroj and have had the opportunity to be privy to the inner workings of this wonderful human being. Given there are so many outstanding facets to him at hand, this is a complex task, and I find it difficult to encapsulate this into a few fleeting minutes to be satisfied that I have done him justice in so doing. So following Prof. Saroj's trademark strategy of breaking down complex ideas into simple ones, I will try to simply share a few of my reflections and experiences of associating with him. Anyone who knows Prof. Saroj knows the multitude of hats he wore in his career and the diverse responsibilities he had to pay attention to on a daily basis. His role as the head of the Department of Medical Humanities was merely one of those roles. However, I believed the department, as well as the behavioral sciences stream, which he was instrumental in establishing, occupied a very special place in his heart, as it stands for his vision for medical education, the production of humane and compassionate doctors. Prof. Saroj and I have had many a chat about how we could try to break down the fuzzy construct named humaneness, and often on how we can try to explain it and enhance it in ourselves and our students. However fuzzy this term may be, I think the core essence and values of Saroj Jayasinghe resonates well with what it stands for. Often I have sat in his lectures he did for the behavioral sciences stream on the importance of empathy and compassion in doctors. And despite having done this on numerous occasions, it was clear to me that what he spoke of came from a place of true conviction and passion, straight from the heart. And this made me feel very much in awe of what he lectured about. And this in itself was very effective in creating the intended impact. And I'm sure this was so for the students as well. Whether it be through his warm and accepting smile to those who approached him, or his instinctive reaction to aid a downtrodden and ailing beggar on the roadside that everyone else chose to pass by, or the constant visits he used to have from our staff with their medical reports seeking his advice due to their strong belief in his competence, and above all, his compassionate care towards them, the qualities of humaneness were ever present in Prof. Saroj. Some who hear of this description but do not personally know him might visualize an extremely sedate figure moving about slowly with calm serenity. But as we all know, this is not Saroj Jayasinghe. He's always in a constant state of flight, flitting around from task to task like a metaphorical hummingbird who simultaneously brings in joy and hard work at the same time. When the department first started, we did not have a dedicated space, and I remained in the behavioral sciences stream office, which is tucked away on a mezzanine floor on the second floor of the admin block. Due to the constant occurrence of a situation of now you see him and now you don't, my cue for knowing he was around for a quick discussion was his gleeful laughter, which sometimes used to be heard from the reception area downstairs right up to where I was. His cheerful and friendly manner created a very happy and relaxed environment around him. And I used to find that this very nature made him able to quickly disarm the most nervous and scared student to loosen up and even have a good laugh with him. The exuberance and energy was beautifully blended with a gentlemanly manner, whether it be when he passionately presented the ideas, sometimes requiring the presentation of strong arguments on behalf of the department or stream, but when faced with swift and vehement opposition, accepting this quietly with a smile, or whether it was when we were organizing a department event and everything seemed to be misfiring, but he remained calm and cool, or whether it was simply when he was traveling in a lift with the most junior students, but stepped aside for the female students to step out first. He always carried the old world charm of a very refined and classy gentleman. Although the Department of Medical Humanities has had a very short history, he provided it the leadership to take very bold and innovative moves. To me, it used to sometimes feel that every step he took led to the generation of a new idea. If he decided to follow through on an idea, he was willing to stick his knees in deep and get his hands dirty and work at ground level to make sure that whatever task needed to be done, and however menial and mundane it was, that it was executed well, from personally visiting all the toilets in the faculty to make sure they were serviceable for an event, to spending a large proportion of his weekend tediously formatting text tables in a document, or getting involved in and suggesting how we might decorate the senior common room when we had to provide refreshments for a faculty board meeting. For someone watching from the outside, it would not have been evident that the International Conference in Medical Humanities, which was a huge success, was the outcome of a handful of people working with minimal resources. Prof. Saroja's steadfast leadership and magical touch made things come together in wonderful unison, leading to extremely successful productions such as this, and making it feel for those of us who were working on the inside that we had an almost miraculous success. Prof. Saroj, you'll be happy to know that you have set a wonderful trend, and those who now walk in your footsteps follow a similar ethos. Professor Galapati, our current head, has been an absolute star, being a pillar of strength to the department and providing us leadership and being fully involved in committing much of our time and efforts in all the tasks to be carried out. The events we are having today being prime examples. We are also very lucky to have in the seat of the chairperson of the BSS HSPS, Professor Panduka Karunanayaka, another wonderful leader whose vision and keen interest in taking the stream forward, we see many innovative and progressive approaches in the years to come. I'm going to miss very much the little chats that I had with Prof. Saroj, where he would share with me fascinating ideas and the research that he had read about recently. He was a true scholar in every sense, whose thirst for knowledge saw no boundaries. With his ability to think laterally and beyond what was traditional, he also tried to give momentum to others to do the same. He was always willing to lend his ear to your ideas and suggestions, regardless of whomever it came from or whatever you challenged, with his usual open-minded approach, which in turn helped you to flourish and take on bold new challenges. He was also a very understanding and supportive head of department. The well-being of his staff was very important to him. I recall when we were both in the organizing committee of the Colombo Medical Congress, where he was one of the chairpersons and I was a joint secretary, and he found I had several responsibilities to juggle, and he offered to take on some of my work assignments. There was absolutely no way that he too had the time to do any of this work, given the workload he himself had to manage. But the mere fact that he made such offers was extremely touching and comforting, and above all, showed his humility. Prof. Saroj, the impact you have had on the department will be everlasting, not merely due to you being the founder head of the department and the key force in its establishment, but due to what you stood for and portrayed as a human being. I've said this on many occasions. We don't plan to let you go that easy. We will always look to your support and involvement in our activities and development process. So while I thank you very much for all that you have done for us on behalf of the department, we will continue to seek your counsel in the years to come.
Thank you very much, Madam. As we know, it was initially the behavioral sciences stream that is undergoing a transformation currently to humanities, society, and professionalism stream. To talk to you more about it and the involvement of Professor Saroj Jayasinghe during this transformation, I would like to invite Professor Panduka Karunanayaka from the Department of Clinical Medicine.
Thank you very much. Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, sir, and Madam Jayasinghe, Professor Vajra Dissanayaka, our Dean, Professor Pujasini Galapati, the Head of the Department of Medical Humanities, Dr. Santoshi Amarasuriya, Senior Lecturer and Chairperson of our stream, distinguished invitees today, both on-site and online, and ladies and gentlemen. Let me first thank Pujasini for giving me a chance to say a few words today to appreciate the role or the work that Saroj sir has done for our stream in 10 minutes, which is a very difficult task. So I thought I will, first of all, try to recapture the roles that he has played in the BSS and the HSPS over the years, as far as I know. So we know that our new medical curriculum started in 1995, and Professor Saroj Jayasinghe was a live wire and a pioneer in that transformation or the creation of that new curriculum. And it was that curriculum that brought the BSS into existence. And I would not be lying at all if I said that since 1995, over the next 25 years or so, his shoulders have been one pair of shoulders on which the whole medical curriculum, actually, not just the BSS, but the whole medical curriculum has relied heavily on for existence and for continuation and for establishment itself. We all know that. And it is especially true of the BSS, I should say. Then he played many roles in that as a person who developed resource material for the stream, a person who took part in facilitating and giving lectures for the stream, and also as an examiner. I think, nevertheless, it took a turn in 2012 when you became the chairperson of our stream, because that was a good time, I think, for you to become chairperson, because that was a time when the whole faculty as a whole has matured enough to understand the real value of the BSS by that time, over the 10 or 15 years since its inception. And what you did was very interesting. What you did was you made use of that opportunity, realizing the readiness of the faculty to take the next step forward. And you organized a series of workshops. And the interesting thing that you did was you invited the whole faculty to come to these workshops. And personally, as one of the academics who was interested in the BSS and who knew that would be coming, I didn't expect many people to come. I thought the same 5 or 6 people who are always talking about the BSS will be there in those workshops as well. And I remember the first workshop, which was held in this room, actually. I don't know whether you prepared for so many people, the meals and the tea and everything, but it was full. And even after lunch, they were there. So that really gave a message to all of us that we are ready to make the next quantum leap in our stream. And that was when many ideas came forth. Even the idea of the Department of Medical Humanities itself came about around these workshops. And then the need to change the name from the BSS to the HSPS by broadening out its tasks, and also to rewrite the regulations as well. It was expected by the faculty around this time. The faculty realized that our MBBS program was becoming very delayed, very prolonged, and we were all required to bring it back to 5 years. So that task also you took on and tried to reduce the burden on the student also into a 5-year framework. And then all that came out in the new regulations, which were approved in 2018. And it was around that time that in 2016, the department also came into existence. And around that time in 2019 or last year, I succeeded you as the chairperson of the stream with a new name, the HSPS. Really, it was both an easy task and a difficult task. It was an easy task because you had paved the way for everything, for the successor to just take. It was fairly cut and dry. The regulations were in place. They were very clear cut. It has even identified the changes that would be put in place, not just in that regulation, but even in the subsequent regulations, probably because it recognized that what you need to change and also what you can know, what you can't right now. So it was fairly clear cut. When you read the regulations, you know the path. So in that sense, it was very easy. It was not at all hazy or anything. And also the fact that by that time we have been able to put together as a leader a critical mass of academics in this faculty who thought that the BSS or the HSPS was part of their work. They didn't think of the HSPS as some alien thing, which sort of sits uncomfortably on the curriculum, but rather they thought that it was very much a part of this stream, that part of their life as academics. So, I mean, it's very easy to when you have a critical mass of people like that. So in that way, it was easy. But the difficult part was having to follow on your footsteps, to be measured by your standards, by everybody, to see whether I will also measure up to the stature of Sarojya Singh, which I'm trying to do. That will take a long time for me to achieve. So that is basically, if I summarize a 25-year history into a very short and brief period, how you gave birth to the idea of the BSS and HSPS in collaboration with other reformers of the curriculum, how you carried it on through some difficulty until the faculty was ready and mature to take the next step, and how you then jumped into the chair of the chairperson of the stream and then made use of that opportune moment to make that quantum leap, and how you then handed over that mantle to the next successor in a very clear-cut manner so that the next successor has his or her job very easy to do. So, but that is a list of roles that you played and things that you did and so on. I'm not very sure whether you can actually capture a man's or woman's contribution by a list of things that you have done, or a list of posts that you have held, lecturer, chairperson, or whatever. I mean, just as an example, I could tell you that there was a time when you and Dr. Mahesh Rajasuri, as your convener, you had to, this is amazing just to think about it. You had to, each of you had to correct 1,000 scripts of essay questions just to clear the backlog of a BSS exams. I mean, like knowing as academics, I would have no hesitation to call that a Herculean task. And we didn't even probably know about it. But that's sort of little minor details, footnotes that were there in this whole process. But then how can you really capture Sarojya Singh's contribution? It's very difficult, certainly in 10 minutes. So I thought I'll do something very personal. In the HSPS, we have 6 streams. I will tell you how my association with Professor Sarojya Singh as a very young doctor in 1995 when I was a registrar changed me and readied me to play this role as chairperson in HSPS. I came as registrar to the Profinity in 1995 after my internship in Badulla and working in various hospitals in the Polonnaruwa district, and came to Colombo to work as a doctor for the first time to the Profinity in medicine, which is considered like an apex of healthcare facilities. So if I take the 6 stream themes, let's see how you influenced me. We'll take the first theme. The first theme is a personal development theme, helping our students to become better doctors. So I remember I was going to give my first ward class to medical students one morning. I prepared for that very carefully. And somehow you got to know about it in the morning of the ward. And he asked me, Panduka, are you doing a ward class today for students? I said, yes. What is it on? In acute hepatitis, sir. So, okay. So after the ward round, you took me away and sat with me and went through what I wanted to do, what I planned to do, and explained to me what is okay to put there, what to take out because it's not necessary for them, what to enlarge on, and so on. In my career, I have had very few experiences like that when senior people have sat with me and taught me how to teach. You are one of them. Professor Carlo Fonseca is another one. So that was illuminating to me. So that's, like it's the personal development in action. We'll take the second module, health and society module, which is where we teach about subjects which are outside medicine, but important to medical practice, like philosophy, sociology, anthropology, psychology, and so on. So we had these grand rounds in the Prof unit on Friday mornings at about 7:38 we start. We spent about 1 hour, and he was always leading that grand rounds. So one of us would present a case and he would discuss. And there was another interesting character person there, Professor Sisira Siribhadranu, who was a senior registrar, who is now professor and chair of medicine in Rajarata. Sisira used to throw very interesting questions sometimes embarrassing questions. And you used to answer them, bringing on outside subjects like sociology and health economics especially and so on, making serious questions no longer that embarrassing or unusual, but actually connected to the medicine of that patient. And that's when I realized that, there are academic fields outside medicine, which is not important for my MD, but which actually connects up with my patient. So that's number two. Number three, medical ethics team. Well, one of the patients I had was a patient I came to realize was indulging in some illegal activities, and I had a chat with you, and that was, you didn't say no, you didn't say yes, but you sat down with me and we discussed whether we should or not. And that was to me the first application of ethics principle into a real patient. In the company of a senior teacher who explained to me, well, this is your patient, those are the ethics that you know, let's see whether it is right or wrong to do that. So that is the third theme. The fourth theme was medical professionalism, which is basically, if I had to define professionalism in one sentence, I would say that it's the ability to put the patients first before our own interests. And you did that in action because you always prescribing generic medications, except when pharmacologists themselves said that it's all right to do, for example, combined medications and so on. And you never took pharmaceutical industry sponsorship to go overseas for any industrial conference and so on. So they were like very atypical examples for us at that time. That is number 5. And finally, number 6. Number 5 is medical communication skills. Well, there was once a patient we were going to discuss in the grand round that I described to you a little while ago. And then somebody began making the presentation, and we were getting ready with our questions and so on. Suddenly, Professor Sarojaya Singh spoke up and said, "Oh, by the way, Mr. X, who is here, he's a very educated person. He has a degree in whatever and can speak in English. So if you want to ask any questions, you can ask him in English." So he was basically telling me, be careful, he knows what you are talking about, right? And by doing that, he made us realize that it's important to think like the patient and to be in the patient's shoes and to be sensitive about the patient, about what you say and so on. And that was a very stark example that I saw as a young registrar, rushing with medical knowledge to sort of take a step back and think about that also. And then the final theme, the humanness theme, which we are very proud of in our stream and our department, because it's very special. It's a theme, but not a module, because we don't want to measure it. We just want to do it. I'll tell you another story. So that was again as a registrar. So we had this Ward 48 and then Ward 47 on the other side. We had to go along a corridor with trees on the two sides. And then, of course, now there are no trees, but this was 25 years ago. And then you go around towards the MICU or medical ICU. So after doing the ward round in the prof-unit female ward, Professor Saroj and I were going towards the female ward. We were walking down the corridor very fast. We were walking fast like Santoshi described. There were lots of other people on that corridor going up and down, attendants, patients, all that. And then there was such trees beyond that. And I was just explaining to him the patient in the ICU that I was going to see with him in a short while. And he was like looking, walking with me, and I was on his side. Suddenly he stopped and he looked to see about 20, 30 feet away under a tree was a small boy, about maybe 7, 8 years old, and silently crying. He quietly went up to the boy and asked, "Puta, hey Puta, to see this boy has got lost in the hospital. He doesn't know where his mother is. He doesn't know where the mother, which ward the mother was. He didn't know all he knew was his name. And he took the time to try to find out where the mother was very quickly. And then when he sort of asked a few questions and figured out, yeah, this is where the mother must be in such and such a place. And he got a minor staff member to come and accompany the boy to the mother, and then went to the MICU with me. So that, I think, is that humanness. So, it's as good an example of any just knowing to be a human being and to know that the other person is a human being and to be able to relate to that other person as a human being. I didn't even see the boy when I was walking by in that corridor. And I was telling him about the case, and he was listening to the case, and he saw the boy. And he stopped and, MICU is also urgent, but we sorted it out. So this is basically how you must have put the foundation for the 6 themes that I'm going to follow through now in your footsteps in the stream. So thank you, sir, for that, for the stream, for the invention, for the work you did in it. It'll be great to just go in your footsteps and try to see if I can keep pace to some extent and make these things a reality. It looks very interesting and inviting, actually, the way that you have put those things in place. And we won't be able to forget you. And we will, of course, always try to gather from you even more as the time goes on. This is just a huge, big thank you. I was just looking at this photo. It's very, I didn't select this photograph, but it's a very interesting photo. There you are. It shows Saroj Jayasinghe in action to me. This is him. And he doesn't bear on you. He doesn't overpower you or domineer you. What happens is this diffusion. These little balls and balls which just diffuse along that environment, and eventually you get the idea. Saroj Jayasinghe is far away. He just acts through diffusion. That is the definition of his. He's not a domineering person. We all know that. And I think by doing that, by using that method, he has actually been able to achieve probably a lot more change than more domineering people. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Professor Panduka Karunanayake. Professor Saroj Jayasinghe has been one of the favorite teachers in the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. So we thought this event would not be complete without a speech from the students. For that, we have invited Mr. Punu Jayakodi, the President of the Medical Faculty Students Union. Now it's your turn.
Good afternoon to all of you. Vidya Jyoti, Professor Vajra Disanayake, Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, the laureate of today's felicitation, and his beloved family. All other distinguished guests and my fellow colleagues who are joining us through physical and virtual platforms. It has been said that true teachers are those who use themselves as bridges over which they invite their students to cross, then having facilitated the crossing, joyfully collapse, encouraging them to take their own, create their own. For ages, literature has told us about such teachers in extensive detail on their greatness, idealness, and on them being driving forces of civilizations. Little did we know when we first arrived here in this great institution that we would be able to learn from such mentors. Today, regrettably for us, we bid farewell one such mentor. It is certainly a great honor for me that I speak in today's felicitation of a maverick of medicine on behalf of the students of this faculty who have benefited much from his patronage and guidance throughout the 4 decades of his service. As it might already be evident through the previous speeches and what has been told of Saroj sir, it is no easy task to capture the full scope of his service in a few minutes. So many are the dimensions that has benefited from his influence. He has empowered generations of doctors with his unique approach of teaching medicine. He has impressed them with a unique and ideal attitude towards the practice of medicine in specific and even life in general. He has improved the standards of this institution through multiple initiatives to meet international levels, and most importantly, Sir has and will continue to be a source of knowledge and practical wisdom through his contributions to medical education and literature. Saroj sir, in many ways, has been a model of the motto of this institution: competence, compassion, and care. Having completed his school education at the Ananda College, Colombo, and getting through the advanced level examinations with flying colors, Sir entered this esteemed institution to leave his mark on it forever. The young and keen undergraduate Sir most certainly must have been transformed into the resourceful professional we have came to know during the same time when our country was transforming and opening up to the world. The early years of his practice was marked by the arrival of the digital revolution to Sri Lanka, along with its deep impact on the practice of medicine. These changes must have demanded a versatility in those who succeeded in keeping up with it. Not surprisingly, Sir didn't just adapt to these new circumstances, but he thrived and advanced these new innovations. This versatility is something that the future generations of doctors, ourselves, must have to emulate if we were to adapt to the changes to come. One of my own early memories of Saroj Sir is from our orientation program, where he showed us a cartoon of a gleeful gaggle of students going through a prison-like castle, only to emerge as uniformly weary workers from the other side. Sir warned us to make sure that the stresses of this stringent discipline doesn't transfigure our cheerful and eclectic selves into bleak and monotonous doctors. True to his words, Sir never let go of a chance of fostering creativity in his students and colleagues. Through his commitment to and encouragement of creativity and arts, he has nurtured compassion in us. To this, I must be immensely grateful, not only for warning us of the risk of a disconsolate transformation, but also for serving as a lively example of how we can save our youthful spirit and employ it in the service of others. Of the many initiatives Sir has spearheaded, the establishment of the Department of Medical Humanities in 2016, which is the first such department in Sri Lanka, speaks most of Sir's commitment to compassionate and caring healthcare service. This department incorporated ethics, psychology, social sciences, and aesthetics into medical education. Ever since Sir re-entered the faculty in 1982 as a lecturer in the Department of Medicine, having completed his postgraduate training, he has been a bastion of and for competence. Through his role as the founder director of the Medical Education Development and Research Center, he has played an important part in ensuring that Sri Lankan medical education is in par with the rapidly changing medical landscape. When we hear of accounts of Sir's approach to teaching, we cannot but regret that the future students will be missing his guidance. Nevertheless, we have been and will be lucky to benefit from Sir's initiatives for times to come. One such initiative with Saroj Sir at its foremost that I witnessed from its onset is the University of Colombo Clinical Society. The UCCS has conducted many programs under the patronage of Sir, including grand rounds, skills courses, and med talks that have become popular not only among Colombo undergraduates, but others as well. The Colombo Medical Congress 2020, co-chaired by Saroj Sir, was a massive success at different levels. For our students, it was an inspiring reminder of the exceptional skill and competence that has been shaped within the walls of this faculty. We benefited greatly from the distinguished alumni who graced the event physically as well as virtually. Just as Sir explained, as he passionately encouraged students to participate in the Medical Congress, was an opportunity for the reaffirmation of our commitment to the pursuit of competence. In this regards, I'm sure that Sir's guidance will continue in the form of articles, books, talks, and other publications. Throughout his career in the faculty, Sir has been exceptionally approachable and considerate of the needs and requests of the students. Despite years of experience, innumerable accolades, and considerable authority, Professor Saroj Jaisingh has always been, in spirit, a youthful, agreeable, and kind patron in his interactions with the student bodies. Sir, I, as the President of the Students' Union, take this opportunity to express the gratitude of all students, present and past, for all the times you have given ear to our requests and when necessary, joined our efforts. Today, as you retire, we may miss your guidance, your enthusiasm for innovation, and your irreplaceable support for the students, but your legacy as a resourceful academic, a competent clinician, and a model human being will continue to color the tapestry of this institution. Sir, I wish you a joyful retirement, as in your Facebook post, with a lot of holidays, drawings, writings, readings, and clinical work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It is not only in Sri Lanka that Professor Saroj Jayasinghe rendered his service, but also in many other countries. We are happy to have Dr. Karma Tenzin send us a video of him speaking in the absence of him today morning. He is the Deputy Dean of Academic Affairs of Kesa Gyalpo University of Medical Sciences from Bhutan, and he will speak to us about the contribution of Professor Saroj Jayasinghe to the development of medical humanities and behavioral sciences to the postgraduate studies in Bhutan.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Karma Tenzin from Bhutan. And today I'll be sharing briefly on the role of Professor Saroj Jayasinghe in the field of medical humanities in Sri Lanka and beyond. And when we say beyond, including Bhutan. I, in fact, joined hundreds of Bhutanese medical students. Now, many of them are doctors who have learned under the supervision of Professor Saroj, including many of the sessions we had with him in the field of medical humanities as a student. Now, I have known Professor Jayasinghe as a student initially for many years, and now since 2017, we have been working in very close coordination to organize the first medical humanities workshop in Bhutan, especially for the postgraduate residency programs in Bhutan. And we in fact had our first medical humanities workshop in Bhutan in 2019 with his support and expertise. And I must say that our students, our faculties, and even our management benefited much out of that workshop. And that's why going forward, we had actually worked even to have the second workshop in 2020. However, the pandemic had planned otherwise. However, we still look forward, and at the same time, hoping that we'll have yet another medical humanities workshop in Bhutan very soon with the support and help of Professor Saroj, sir. On the introduction of medical humanities in postgraduate programs in Bhutan, I must say we had just started, and we are really looking forward. And because I believe the modern medical practice is so much focused into technicalities, so much focus on the skills as a medical professional rather than encompassing the human part. I think that's where Professor Saroj has played as a champion, as a front runner or the torchbearer to incorporate the culture of humanness in medical practice. For that, my biggest salute to Professor Sir for really taking forward this particular field in Sri Lanka for almost 20, 30 years. And now with his support, we would like to take even in Bhutan. And we are looking forward and moving forward. I'd like to wish Professor Saroj a very fruitful, happy and prosperous and healthy retirement life. At the same time, I also pray and wish that Sir will have all the time and the luxury and the energy to support us Bhutan. And I must also put forward here that Sri Lanka has been one of the greatest supporter of Bhutan, greatest partner of Bhutan, and greatest sort of a friend of Bhutan through provision of very many generous scholarship in the field of medicine. And just to end on my ending note, I would like to submit that with the instruction from the government to start MBBS in Bhutan, I think Professor Saroj sir will have a big role in facilitating and incorporating the medical humanities, even in undergraduate course in Bhutan. And with the cross-national happiness philosophy, I think medical humanities blended, and then as a result, I feel that the product that will be produced will be a fine one. Now, lastly, I would like to end here once more by thanking the organizers for this opportunity to participate and be part of felicitation team of Professor Saroj Jaisingka. Thank you so much and good day. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with immense pleasure that I now invite the most celebrated, charming, vibrant, most loved, most humbled Professor Saroj Jaisingka to speak to us on this occasion.
Firstly, let me thank everybody for organizing this. I never expected a function like this. I thought we were just going to have a cup of tea and say, no. I knew there was something, I mean, there were some formalities, but thank you very much. So thank you, Vajra, thank you, Priyadarshini, thank you, Santoshi, and thank you, Panduka. And of course, thank you to the students as well as Karma for expressing so much love to what I have done. It's of course, it's the greatest pleasure for a teacher, and I'm sure Prof. Colvin Gunaratne will also agree. When you see people whom you have taught or who have learned from you taking the baton and running, I mean, that's the biggest pleasure. And I think that same pleasure is what humanness is about. Even for doctors, the moment you get something here where you are happy when another one is made happy, I think that's the biggest pleasure you can get. And it's free of charge. It's free of charge. And I tell this to all especially the medical students, because you are in one profession where you will be meeting people and helping them. You have never ever set eyes on them before, and you might never ever set eyes on them after. You meet them, and sometimes you are saving their lives. Sometimes when you speak to them kindly and when you try to help them, you have done wonders to their lives. And if you're able to get that pleasure of doing that, you are in the correct profession. I don't think you can. Any other profession has that. You're not lucky, because I mean, if you're a bank manager, you're not lucky. I mean, okay, you might give a loan, but you won't get that. And I'm so happy that I have told this to some of my students. And one of our interns, Yumal Kurup, who was with us, he was our research assistant. So he's working in Kalutara. So I had mentioned about this, and recently he gave me a call and he said, "Sir, you told us about how when you connect with a person that you get a pleasure. You get some happiness." So I got it. So I knew the message had got through. And I think this is where humanity is also coming. I'm still fascinated by the neurophysiological explanations because I think that's the one which will convince the medical profession. That's the one which I think lit up Prof. Carlo Fonseca when we showed him this paradigm of the networks of compassion and empathy being very close to the neurological networks of art appreciation, music appreciation, and so on. So poetry, Jean, when you write your poetry, the creative things which come in, how it's closely connected to compassion. So the more you show that link and the more you foster and promote humanities, you are likely to shift the Gaussian curve. We will never be able to eliminate inhumane people from this earth. All we can expect is that some people will be more humane and there'll be a few who be exceptionally humane. And at least if they don't do inhumane things, that's what we should aim for. So I feel that this is some area which we can we can explore. Already Dilshan is leading the group on meditation, and Katlan and them are also involved in those, on how the neurophysiological aspects of art appreciation, music, poetry, creativity. And if we allow that to happen with our students, I think automatically some of them will also connect with the compassion networks, and we'll be pushing them towards that. So sky is the limit. And as I mentioned, it's imagination is the limit of, which limits us from reaching the skies. Because if we really look at some of these areas, I think medical humanities can flourish. And certainly this faculty, which even though I am working as a consultant to Sabaragamu University, my heart is still here. So certainly the mother of all faculties can certainly shine in this area also. Huge amount of potential. And as what Karma said from Bhutan was that we did 2 workshops. In fact, I ran a workshop, a 3-day workshop on medical humanities. And it was a great success because you know that you have made that connection with them. And they have really taken that on. So for me, I think it's been an absolute pleasure to be here, to see you all and to work with you all. And thank you so much, Santoshi, for bringing out those facets of my life. And Panduka, I didn't know some of the things which I had done. And so thank you very, very much. And I take a very systems approach, and Panduka knows we've been debating on the systems approach to life. So retirement is just a small segment goes off. The segment, i.e., you're not going to be paid by the University of Colombo, that's it. And you don't have to do ward rounds, which is a relief. And you don't have to be responsible for so many patients and so on. But life is full of so many things which can be done, which will be done, and which you enjoy. One thing, of course, what you enjoy is that in the morning you don't have to get up and worry, yeah, I must be there now, a ward round, and that's not there. But otherwise, it's been quite busy still. It's been quite busy. And it gives you time to think, time to reflect, time to go out. Certainly once the COVID gives us a bit of relief, we'll be going out more on weekends and places like that. So other than saying thank you very much, and thank you to the staff, AV unit, all of you, And I've been troubling all of them in the middle of the night. And this part, thank you for shifting it. Because when they wanted to have this before Professor Carlo Fonseca's oration, I said, no, Professor Carlo Fonseca's oration, I can't cope with too. So that's why this is from Priyadarshini's note, right? I scribbled something because until that was over, that was the only thing I did. I didn't have the capacity to be planning for anything else. So yes, I will be around. Santoshi, I will be around, but not on any official capacities. Backseat, because there are a whole lot of people who are brilliant. And though Panduka was saying that he's trying to see whether he can aim to my standards, in several areas, I try to aim to his standards, right? To see, and ideas, I bounce on him and he slashes them to tiny, tiny bits, and then I have to collect them and then present it again to him. So thank you very much, Panduka. Right? So, and you mentioned about Mahesh, who, there was a time when we went through tough times and thousands of papers we managed to clear that backlog. Kavinda is not with us. Unfortunately, fortunately for him, but unfortunately for us, he has migrated. But his heart is also with us. He keeps writing to us and still keeping in touch. So summary-wise, what I would say is thank you. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to be here with you. And I will be around. It's just that I won't take any active role. But you're most welcome to drop me an email or have a chat. And Sabaragamo, yes, is another interesting challenge. And as Karma said, Bhutan is also going to be an interesting challenge. And I think for this faculty, we have, if we develop this, and I'm sure you all will develop it in this way, the future I see is that Colombo Medical Faculty leads in this area. And as Vajra said, we lead in this area because this is an area where it's fertile ground. Not many people are handling it. And it's absolutely crucial. We know it's important for us to be humane. It's not your clinical competence, it's part of it. It's part of your clinical competence. It's not something separate. It's not this or that. It's this with it. It's this. So I think there's a lot of potential here, plus potential in the region, and a huge amount of area which is available for research. We can go into postgraduate. I've been telling Santoshi also, they've started a research on kindness, trying to capture what we mean by kindness. And these are not high-tech research. You don't need functional MRIs. You only need is qualitative research, interviews, observational studies, and so on to begin with. And where you look at how you can promote kindness, how you can promote human behavior. And as Vajra said, in relation to the SLMC, there'll be certain priorities which they will also have, and we should be focusing on those areas also. So potential-wise, huge potential for the faculty. Postgraduate courses, certificate courses, you name it. I mean, we can think creatively and there'll be enough of things for us to do. And I just want to show you the book which we now Mahesh, it's out. Panduka, Mahesh, Santoshi, Kavinda, and Ashwini and myself. This is a primer for undergraduate courses in medical humanities and professionalism, hot off the press. must thank Ashwini. She is the one who did all the typesetting and brought it home last night. Right? So this is, of course, this has to be developed further because this was incubating. We have been discussing this for quite some time. So I think I should end now and say thank you once again. My present is to the Dean. This is dedicated, as I mentioned, to Professor Carlo Fonseca. I'll just read the dedication also. This manual is dedicated to the memory of late Professor Carlo Fonseca, who pioneered teaching the scientific approach and introducing humanities to medical schools, and whose lifelong quest in science and humanities continues to inspire generations of students. It was released on the 4th of March at the inaugural Professor Carlo Fonseca oration, the day of his 80th birthday. But we should have an official launch. Yes, I think that's this was a. Yes. But I wanted to just release today because I thought it was a nice gesture on our part to release it and inform the people, and then certainly we will. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, dear sir. Ladies and gentlemen, parallel to this event, the Department of Medical Humanities will be launching a special edition of our newsletter, and this is a tribute to Professor Saroj Jayasinghe. And I am happy to present you with a preview right now. This is the newsletter, and to present few of the paperback copies to the dignitaries here, let me invite Professor Priyadarshini Galapatti and Dr. Santoshi Amarasuriya from the Department of Medical Humanities. Before winding up the session, we have a special tribute video from the students dedicated for Professor Saroj Jayasinghe, and we will get along with that now.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Karma Tenzin.
Sorry about that.
A bright young mind hailing from Ananda College, Colombo, young Saroj enters the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo in 1974. In 1979, he graduates with his MBBS degree. He begins his internship in the National Hospital of Sri Lanka in the Professorial Unit of Surgery under the late Professor Navaratna, Professor Sharifuddin, and Professor Jerry Jayasekara. He would then continue his internship in the Professorial Unit of Medicine under the late Professor Dharmadasa, Dr. David Shanmugam, Professor M.H. Rizvi-Sharif, and Dr. Ananda Vimalasurya. This was the beginning of a lifelong career of competence, compassion, and care. He returned to faculty in 1982 as a lecturer in clinical medicine.
Yet competent, polite, yet headstrong.
Simple, yet brilliant in teaching.
Logical, but kind-hearted. Patient and close with his students.
In 1987, he was appointed as an honorary consultant, making him one of the most experienced consultants in the National Hospital of Sri Lanka. He was a lover of the arts, being a connoisseur of music and a gifted artist himself. He is an individual who saw his aesthetic and professional life flourish. He obtained his MD in General Medicine in 1982 from the University of Colombo. In 1984, he became a member of the Royal College of Physicians in the United Kingdom. In the 90s, he obtained WHO fellowships in medical education in Australia, Singapore, Netherlands, and Malaysia. In his illustrious career, he has served in multiple roles. He was the assistant editor in the Ceylon Medical Journal. He served as the director of NEST, an NGO active in community mental health and HIV/AIDS. He was the convener of the Health and Social Development Program in the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. He served as the module coordinator for the postgraduate diploma in health development in the University of Colombo. He was a senior researcher in the Development Studies Institute of the University of Colombo. He served as an examiner in medicine in the final MBBS in the University of Colombo. He played the role of honorary secretary in the Sri Lanka Medical Association. He was the vice president of the Sri Lanka Medical Association. He headed the Department of Clinical Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. For his numerous contributions to research in medicine, he has been honored with many awards. He took over the mantle from Professor Rizvi-Sharif as the chair professor in medicine in 2016. He was a democratic, understanding, and inclusive leader who founded the Department of Medical Humanities in 2016. He chaired the organizing committee of the first International Conference on Medical Humanities in 2018.
Professor Saroj is the patron of our very own University of Colombo Clinical Society. He has always been supportive of those initiatives led by students that change the status quo.
Dear sir, you are an inspiration to all budding doctors in Sri Lanka. You are a paragon of what it means to be competent, compassionate, and caring.
It's with a heavy heart that we see you retire from the faculty. But we do hope that this new chapter in your life brings you nothing but joy.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we mark the end of the program today. We would like to join with us in the Department of Medical Humanities for the unveiling of official photograph of Professor Saroj Jayasekara. A big thank you to all the participants on site and through the virtual platforms for joining with us from the Department of Medical Humanities, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. Have a pleasant day.